Welcome back to Bible Story Haven. Today, we journey back to a time when the world was very different, a time filled with wickedness that grieved God's heart. Yet, in the midst of it all, one man stood out. His name was Noah. He was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Seeing the corruption that had spread across the earth, God was filled with sorrow. He decided to bring a great flood to cleanse the world, but he also chose to save Noah and his family. God spoke to Noah, his voice a beacon of hope in a darkening world. He said, "I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, but I will establish my covenant with you." God's instructions were specific and grand. "Make yourself an ark of cypress wood," he commanded. "Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out." God gave Noah the exact dimensions for a massive vessel, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. It would have a roof, a door in the side, and 3 decks, lower, middle, and upper. This wasn't just a boat. It was a floating sanctuary, a testament to faith being built in a faithless world. Imagine Noah's neighbors. They must have watched him, day after day, felling giant cypress trees, measuring and cutting the wood. His sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, working tirelessly by his side. They probably mocked him, whispering about the old man building a gigantic boat on dry land, far from any sea. A flood? What flood? They might have jeered. But Noah didn't waver. His faith was his compass, and his obedience was his strength. For years, he hammered and sawed, trusting in the promise he had heard. Then came the next part of God's incredible plan. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you, God instructed. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. Can you picture it? From the deepest jungles and the highest mountains, animals began to arrive. Majestic lions padded silently toward the ark. Towering giraffes gracefully bowed their heads to enter. Tiny hummingbirds zipped through the air, and slow-moving tortoises plodded along. It was a procession unlike any other, a parade of creation, all drawn by an unseen hand toward the refuge Noah had built. Noah and his family carefully guided them inside, preparing food and shelter for their incredible journey. Finally, with Noah's family and every animal safely aboard, God himself shut the door of the ark. A solemn silence fell. For 7 days they waited. Then the first drop of rain fell. And another. Soon it was a downpour. The springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. Rain fell on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. The water rose steadily, covering the fields, the towns, and even the highest mountains. The world as they knew it disappeared beneath a swirling, endless ocean. Inside the ark, it was a world of its own. The sounds of the storm raged outside, but within those pitch-coated walls, there was a strange and sacred peace. Noah and his family cared for the animals, feeding them, cleaning their stalls, their days filled with a rhythm of service and patience. They floated on the vast waters, a tiny vessel of life in a world returned to watery chaos. They were surrounded by the immense power of the flood, yet they were completely safe, protected by their obedience and God's faithfulness. They lived by faith, trusting that the God who had closed the door would one day open it again. For 150 days, the waters prevailed. Then, just as he had promised, God remembered Noah and all the creatures with him in the ark. He sent a wind to sweep over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The ark, which had been drifting aimlessly, finally came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Still, they had to wait. Noah patiently sent out a raven, and then a dove, to see if the land was dry. The first time, the dove returned, finding no place to rest. A week later, he sent it out again, and this time it returned with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. Hope soared in their hearts. The world was being reborn. After a final 7 days, he sent the dove out once more, and it did not return. At last, God spoke to Noah again. "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you." The great door was opened, and sunlight streamed in. One by one, Noah's family and the pairs of animals stepped out onto fresh, clean earth. They took their first breaths of the new world, their hearts overflowing with gratitude. Noah's first act was to build an altar and worship God, thanking Him for their salvation. The Lord was pleased, and He made a beautiful and everlasting promise. He said, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done." And as He spoke, a magnificent rainbow arched across the sky, a brilliant spectrum of color against the clouds. "I have set my rainbow in the clouds," God declared, "and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my everlasting covenant." Noah's story is a powerful reminder of how faith and obedience can lead us through the greatest storms of life. It shows us that God's promises are true and His faithfulness endures forever. Every time you see a rainbow, remember God's promise to Noah and to all of us, a promise of hope, new beginnings, and unfailing love. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If this story inspired you, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to Bible Story Haven for more timeless stories of faith. We'll see you next time.